when I took
Okay,
off the
great.
headphones.
Okay. So we are live now. Welcome everybody. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum
Uh,
salam. How are you,
Hello,
Shanaz?
Assalamu alaikum.
Great, great. And all our friends who are on Facebook, who were following the link, thank you for coming and joining us. And welcome once again. For the benefit of those who are joining us for the first time on our webinars, this is our fourth webinar in a series of webinars that I've been hosting as the convener of the Standing Central Committee of Tourism Development for FPCCI. And we've been having a series of these with different stakeholders from the tourism industry. We've had with the hoteliers, our first one. The second one was with tour operators. Third one was with travel agents. And now we've got some great vloggers, as you can see, great influencers sitting in front of you. And I'm sure they will have a lot of interesting things to share. Probably, their angle is going to be different from the angles that we've been hearing for the last three sessions, because they are going to be giving us the viewpoint of the user rather than the person providing the facility. So let me introduce our guests to you. We have with us, first of all, Anam Hakim, who blogs,
Hi.
vlogs, and is on Insta under the handle Girl with a Green Passport. I'm sure you guys have
Hi,
all
guys.
yeah. So she has traveled to various countries in the last 5 years. She's also traveled within Pakistan. We also have the travel couple. You see the female part of the couple. Her male counterpart is, I think, going to be joining us soon. Is that right? He'll be joining us?
Yes, the male part will be joining us very soon. He's
Will
actually
be
at
joining us
another
soon.
webinar at
So
the
the
moment.
couple will. All right, great. So basically, this is Amtul Balveja of Patangir, and Fahad is going to be joining us soon after he's done with the other webinar that he's on. And then we've also got, and they go by the handle Travel Couple at Patangir, right?
Yes.
And then, yes, okay. Then we've got Amina Khan, that you see on the above window. She is not only a vlogger, and her vlog is by the name of Aminati, but she's also an ad film director for the last. And you're not going to believe this because I had a tough time believing it when I see her young looks. But this is for the last 24 years. And
Wow.
yes, and her production company is Dream Team Films. So welcome everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you
Hello,
for
Most
inviting us.
everyone.
no, most welcome. I'm glad that you people could spare the time. I know that these days everybody is on Zoom and on StreamYard because so it's like a
Yeah, they're
hectic
like overlapping with each other. अब माशाल्लाह से
exactly.
इतने ज़्यादा होने शुरू हो गए that they're like all back to back. But
Very
that's
good. I
great.
think we are
It's
now
great
busier
to
now than we ever were before with all this happening.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask my first question to Anam, and then we'll go one by one to everybody. So, Anam, you've traveled a lot outside Pakistan. What is the one thing that you feel is lacking the most when you travel within Pakistan and then you compare it with your travels abroad?
Um, if you ask me one thing, I would say it is the infrastructure. And when I say infrastructure, I actually mean several things. Number one being information. Availability of information is a huge thing. Whether that information is available online in the form of a tourism, Pakistan's tourism website, some sort of an official source of information, or maybe information via regional websites or provincial websites, and then also offline in the form of tourist information centers. At
Brochures.
least brochures, yeah, absolutely. And like physical tourist information centers, at least in the places where we do have tourism. I'm not, saying Karachi or, places where the tourist traffic is less, but at least in the places, that's a starting point, I think, the places where we have tourism. So that would be my biggest like the biggest thing that I have noticed is unavailable in our country at the moment when you talk about tourism compared to abroad.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I'm a bit taken aback that when you spoke about infrastructure, the first thing that came to your mind was the lack of information. Because the first thing that comes to my mind when I think of infrastructure are toilets, roads, and basic amenities that I find are lacking when I'm traveling within Pakistan.
No,
So,
100% you're right. As I said, like I should probably elaborate that the first thing that I mentioned was information for me because see, like whenever you're planning a trip, the first thing you need is information. So I think probably that's the first step. But yes, when you're practically on the road, infrastructure definitely means having the facilities on the road, having the facilities at the destination. Um, उसमें आपकी roads शामिल हो जाती हैं. And then also another very important thing are domestic flights. So I feel like whenever we travel abroad, and I sort of feel like this has not been talked about a lot, but whenever we travel to a country where we want to go to 5 6 different local cities, we have really cheap availability of internal flights and internal connections. So sometimes there is really good rail network, and you could find really low cost and good good rail system, the railways and all of that. And then also flights are really low cost, so it's very easy to hop on from one city to another at a very good price. So I think yeah, that's something that we don't really have at the moment. So it becomes a barrier not just for domestic travelers जो कि अपने मुल्क में घूमना चाहते हैं, but also it becomes a barrier for international travelers. उनको भी फिर जाहिर है वो वाली level of facilities और infrastructure नहीं नजर आता जो वो दूसरे countries में जाते हैं. And when I say this, I compare our country not with the first world developed west. I compare our country to places like Cambodia. I compare ourselves to places like Indonesia. Countries who are not first world, but still they have taken steps to at least make some of the parts of their country um, you know basically वहाँ पे facilitation की हुई है, at least in some parts of the country, if not the whole country, if the whole country is not visited by tourists. So I'm comparing with them. I'm not comparing these things with West or first world countries.
no, I agree with
Yeah.
you completely. And in fact, it's not just the availability and the affordability of the flights. Another factor that I faced myself when I was traveling, say to Skardu, was that you can get stuck for days on end because they say that the weather is not conducive to for flying, and then the next available flight you may end up staying a whole week extra because you don't get the next connection. So I think that is why road travel now is going to become increasingly popular. And now that it's safer also, Alhamdulillah, in Pakistan to be traveling than it used to be. Hopefully, this is something we can promote. And also, because of the COVID conditions, I think more and more it's going to be more affordable to travel by road rather than by flights. So, this is something that we also have
100%.
to start looking at.
Yeah. I've been following a lot of international publications that talk about travel and a lot of travel experts as well. So this is the speculation internationally that local travel and travel by road and travel by alternate means like your ferries, your ships, your basically road transport will be huge, and also road trips will be huge. People would
Yeah.
whenever the situation starts to settle in whichever country we talk about, so सबसे पहले वहाँ पे लोग अपने
Hmm.
local domestic tourism की तरफ जाएंगे.
Hmm.
That's what people are going to think first for safety reasons and also for the reasons because it will be more affordable because obviously everybody has been hit financially as well. So I think local tourism is going to see a big boost for yeah, road travel will be way more safer than flights. So I think should be preparing ourselves as a country, at least first for our domestic travelers. कि वो सबसे पहले जाके northern areas जाएंगे, the first chance they get whenever the situation settles. I think yeah, we should prepare for that at least at this time. We should be planning, or we should be talking about कि क्या करना चाहिए है, how can we prepare for this next boom in local domestic travel.
Yeah, bilkul. I see Fahad has joined us. He's done with his
Everyone, I've got the inside.
Hi Fahad.
Great. Hello, Anam. How are you guys doing? Sorry, I'm
Hi
just stuck in
Fahad.
another meeting.
Good.
It's
We
nowadays it's just jumping.
It's like back to back.
Yeah.
No
So
worries.
I'm glad
Great
to be
that you're
part of
finally
this
here.
session. I'm excited to
Nobody-
talk about this.
Yeah, no, it's good because it keeps us busy and on our toes. I'm glad that everybody has found alternate ways of keeping themselves occupied. So, Fahad and Ankul, my next question is going to be aimed at you all, and you could take turns in answering whatever. So you guys have been to our northern areas and you've seen the kind of infrastructure issues that exist with our roads and our bathroom facilities en route. Now that we are looking at promoting local tourism in a COVID-19 hit environment, whenever it is safe enough to travel locally, what, in your opinion, are the key things that local travelers will definitely want addressed?
Okay, so this is a very, very good question because I feel like sometimes we have a controversial answer to this about infrastructure. Okay, so it's an approach where we've seen that wherever infrastructure has improved, what's happened is the tourism has boosted, but the quality of that area or where the tourism is happening is decreasing. We're losing our natural resources to the way tourism is being processed over there. So in a lot of places, we actually think that it's better that a very strong infrastructure shouldn't be made. So people tough it out there, like that's the beauty of our travel is like you tough it out there and the people who really, really want to get there.
And to be honest, like over the course of time, the more we travel, the more we realize कि यार यहाँ का road ना ही बने तो अच्छा है, so we limit the amount of people coming in because we feel like कि जहाँ जहाँ commercialization हुई है, hotels बने हैं, guest houses बने हैं, they have एक तो the influx of people has increased, which is not always a bad thing. But in our country, in our case, it's kind of a bad thing because we haven't educated our masses alongside. As we kept on increasing the tourism, we didn't do enough campaigns on education on tourism, on sustainable tourism, on green tourism, or responsible tourism, right? हमने इस पे enough बात नहीं की. So that's something which is greatly lagging. We feel in our tourism industry that these campaigns and advocacy करें आप इन सब चीजों की और आप बात करें इन सब चीजों की to educate the masses. उसके अलावा like when you go, you don't see any dustbins around. There's no fine if you litter. Like these are small things. कहने में इतनी छोटी लगती है कि dustbin नहीं है, but it makes a huge difference. If you litter somewhere, there's no fine.
We need to instill national pride in our audience that is traveling, which is it has to start from home. Everything that we're doing, it has to come from the people who are doing this tourism. And most importantly, just building on what Abdul said, that I think camping culture should really come into Pakistan more. You don't have to stay in a hotel, and you don't have to stay guest houses. You have such beautiful open land where you can go and camp. And really, that's when you connect. I think that should be our advice to people going on any type of road trip. Get a tent. It's cheaper than staying it's better. It's cheaper.
Yeah, you're closer to the nature. The experience is better, and I think it's maybe there are more reasons to it why camping hasn't picked up so much. I think the concept of security. I think camping हो रही है आजकल, लेकिन भी tourism companies के साथ होती है. Like if a couple like Fahad and I want to get up and go camping, I know a lot of people wouldn't be able to. Like I know Anam has done it, we have done it, but I know a lot of people, the masses, will not be able to because they don't have enough knowledge or आप नॉलेज को भी छोड़ दे, डर लगता है लोगों को. सिक्योरिटी के बहुत मसले. अगर सेफ भी हो, the whole concept की safe नहीं है.
Even to get out of the head because it's usually safer over there.
It's always safe. Like Marshall, I think we haven't had a bad experience, but people have this whole concept कि नहीं safe नहीं है, ये हो जाएगा वो हो जाएगा. So I think इस पे भी हमें we need to run more campaigns around it so people feel more secure and safe. Like एक पाकिस्तानी अपने मुल्क में safe fee kare when they travel. I think security is another thing.
Because it's so funny because the tourists who come from abroad are the ones who actually do the tougher journeys and they camp and वो खुद अकेले निकल जाते हैं, like आपके जो सारे Europeans आ गए, Americans आ गए, they are the ones who are walking around in the streets with their bags on their back and हम खुद अपने से धर के चल रहे होते हैं.
And I think another thing that we realized is also, sorry, we can keep going on and on about this topic.
I was just going to add my 2 5 bits that, I'm glad that you all are playing the devil's advocate, but you do realize that promoting the kind of travel that the two of you are promoting in your age group makes a lot of sense. But when you're my age group and then you tell them to go out in tents and rough it out and do the adventure tourism, it takes a little bit more of an effort. So, so basically, we do need to have some kind of infrastructure for the other age group also. But having said that, I am totally in agreement with you about the fact that the easier it becomes for people to travel, the more we are putting all these areas at risk. Because what happens is that people, and I'm not just talking about the masses here, okay? I'm even talking about the educated people.
Everyone.
So they don't know how to behave. The littering, this is something we discussed in our last webinar also. And, not taking care of the environment. These are definite issues that we will have to take into consideration. And more so now with the SOPs of COVID also include, there is so much more that we have to look at than just what we would have had to look at initially. So, so that is definitely something that we have to go into, and which we as a committee, we've been working on that as well.
Yeah, and I think even with infrastructure, one thing that we also realize and notice, like, yes, make infrastructure, but don't ruin the aesthetic beauty of that place. What we see is like ugly buildings khade karte the log with bad tiles and gande cements and everything. Why don't you use wood? Why don't you use stone? Why don't you use like natural resources? Like that's what we saw when we went abroad.
If I may add to that,
beautiful wooden cabins.
Yes, sorry, you're adding something?
No, I was just saying, if I may add to that, you have a prime example of Naran Kagan, how beautiful it used to be, how pristine.
Yes.
And now it looks like a mithai ka dabba.
Exactly. Like, I know you feel so bad, but we're not against infrastructure and commercialization. But I think the way we need to do it needs to change a little bit. Yeah, like use more natural resources.
I think two, three key things to add. Just saying 2-3 key things to that is, you must always focus on zero carbon footprint because it's such a big thing elsewhere in the world, and we need to adopt it about time.
Yes.
And secondly, I think it's got a lot to do with taking ownership of your own country. So everywhere else we travel, elsewhere in the world, you see locals being respectful, and you see locals being careful about, trashing, about keeping the place clean, and you tend to follow their example because they sort of seem to have accepted a certain level of standards. So we need to take responsibility of how we operate and how the locals operate in that area for foreigners to kind of follow suit and visually see how we're treating our own place. If we treat it like trash, they'll treat it like trash.
Definitely. I remember we went to one place, I don't want to name it because I don't want to name and shame, but wahan pe there was a whole stream of kachra. Okay, I'm not even joking. Okay, like itna zyada tha ki main bata nahi sakti, and we asked the people who were jo hame guide kar rahe the, jo hamara khayal rakhte, organizers, and I was like, is this done by the tourists or is this done by the local people who are living here? And I was shocked to hear the answer. They were like, it's done by the people who live here. And I was like, how can they do this to their beautiful place? But so yeah, that's another good point, that even the inhabitants of that place, they need to be educated as well. Like, so
it's a pretty long journey. Like I know people say just installing dustbins is the answer, but
I just said it.
I know she's saying it, but I don't agree with that completely.
It's not the only thing.
It's like you have to break it in the beginning, educate the kids into understanding that this is not like the right answer, because there were a lot of case studies saying that just installing dustbins is not always effective.
So, our committee has made a working paper, and in that working paper, we are also proposing that tourism should be added as a curriculum in schools. Because until people start taking ownership and start taking pride in their country from a very young age, this is something that will not come naturally and instinctively to them. So this is one step that we are proposing, and the other step is penalizing. Until you start penalizing people, I'm sorry, just
fine लगाएं भाई कितना कोई फेंक
it has to be very fine. वो कहते हैं ना सीधी उंगली से घी नहीं निकलेगी तो टेढ़ी उंगली से निकालनी है तो
accountability needs to come in.
I mean, when we travel abroad, none of us ever litter.
कितना हम डरते हैं when we go abroad, we are so scared to litter because we know there will be consequences.
Right.
You know.
So I'm now going to come to Amina, and I know Jenny से wait कर रही है बोलने के लिए because she's in my committee, so I know she has lots and lots to say and very, very excited about it. So I'm going to ask Amina my next question, and then we'll come back to everybody. So, Amina, as I mentioned in your introduction, that you're not just a vlogger, but you're also producing these ad films, and especially of the fact. I've seen a couple of them, and they are of those fascinating sports in our country, which our country has to offer in the most pristine environments. So how do you think we could cash in on such activities to promote tourism? And do you think we could still do it keeping the COVID SOPs in mind? Can you hear me, Amna?
Thank you for having me on. It's really I'm really grateful. And it's great to be with you guys here too. I just feel we have fantabulous locations, we have fantabulous sports, and they're like action sports. We need to like value it ourselves, just like I was saying regarding the locations themselves. We need to value our own heroes. There are people who dedicated their lives to sports in this country, and they really get other than cricket, what do you really get to see? And cricket is not even our national game. Our national game is hockey, and I can bet none of us here would know the captain's name, जो इस वक्त आपकी national team का captain है. So it's sad. It's really sad. So I feel that it's extremely important. That's why this digital platform that I started by the name of Amanarchy is sort of like an a sort of a way to kind of people's interest in our own local sports, in our own local tourism, in our own local things that we can be extremely proud of and show off to the world. We are like it's all hidden. Nobody really has an access to it or understands it or goes out and sort of be involved in it. So how are we going to flaunt it to the world? So I thought maybe a place where people could actually get involved and see the inside stories, can actually feel the action, can actually feel the like the space they're played in. आपके पास amazing sports हैं like you have Shandur Polo.
Yes, I was just going to talk about that.
Absolutely phenomenal location. It's called the roof of the world. I know, I saw you guys there. You were entered when we were leaving.
We were there, but we were not there actually.
You were walking in and we just waved. Yeah, I thought you might recognize me. I waved like a mad person, but I don't think so. So, and then you have these car rallies. You have 6 huge car rallies in your country at these amazing locations, and who knows about it except for those poor motorsports special sort of enthusiasts जो उसमें बेचारे खुद इन्वेस्ट करते हैं, खुद गाड़ियां बनाते हैं, फिर खुद गाड़ियां तोड़ते हैं. तो उसके अलावा hardly like 1 or 2 छोटे brands will just go and sort of, even like the bigger brands who are big names will spend like tiny like chiller money on it and want like a big presence or a name. So it's really pretty sad. And I volunteered to be one of the race drivers there, and we will be joining in this coming one. But of course COVID killed it all for sure. But what I'm trying to say is you have boxing, you have MMA. UFC has actually opened a dojo in Lahore.
Yes, I've heard about that.
So I mean, there is incredible quantity of stuff happening in Pakistan, but in little tiny hidden pockets. Amazing cyclists. You have such brilliant athletes. You have rowing teams who win gold medals abroad. You have boat races here. So I'm going to cover all that, and myself an army, like not a one-person army, but like a real army. So so we have luckily such good people on board that we can actually shoot quantities and edit quantities, and we're going to try and put there, like for example, whatever I'm trying to do is not just one vlog. It's a number of videos which will show you, the players, the game, the action bits in it. It'll show you tourism, of course, food, yes, food, and whatever we can try and put out. Yeah.
So
That's amazing.
my concern was that if there are, it's great to have these sports, it's great to have these rallies, but always with it comes there is always that fear that there will be too many people congregating at one place at one time when such events take place, and now it is a concern. But I see a very long comment coming from Faisal Mahmood, who is the editor of Holiday Weekly. And what he says is,
see, these sports are really big elsewhere in the world also. So this whole
yeah,
industry can't just
just give me a
there will
minute.
be
And
SOPs, there will be ways that football matches will be held. There will be ways that other sports will be carried out elsewhere in the world, and we can just follow suit. We can just copy
just give me
the
1 minute.
same kind of SOPs that are being yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to just finish reading this. So, Faisal says that discussing over tourism before tourism is putting the cart before the horse. Right now, the target should be to farm tourism. We are not Barcelona, Venice, Amsterdam, and many other places who are looking at ways and means of reducing the number of tourists that used to flock to the different destinations on a daily basis, and sometimes outnumbering the locals.
It's a very interesting comment.
Yeah. So I
think that's a little. I think you need to really understand that even for the amount of tourism that is, as she mentioned, Naran Kaghan is a prime example of it.
Even Mali, for example,
you have
Babu Sir Top,
right?
It's already happening.
Nobody's saying that.
I mean, you can still sell pakode at Babu Sir Top. Nobody's stopping you, but do it, stylistically, and it will actually work.
This stage, if
and
you're
be clean
facing,
about it, yeah.
right? So then imagine it does get to like a stage above it.
Yeah.
So
I think
it's fair comparing us to these international hotspots for tourism, because our economy is different, our infrastructure is different, our resources are different. So I don't think it's a fair comparison. Like, yeah, we should compare ourselves to India, Nepal. Those are close to home examples that we can look at and learn from. And that's what we actually learned from when we went to Nepal. It was a great eye-opening experience from us, because same landscape, same economy, same kind of infrastructure, and the way they were going about their tourism was really remarkable.
Hostel culture was so amazing.
Yeah, that's one thing that we really saw happening over there, was the hostel culture.
What I found the most fascinating about Kathmandu was that they were even more prehistoric than we were. The lanes were narrower, their houses were more historic. Everything was, I mean, it was like going into our old city when you're traveling all over Kathmandu. And in spite of that, tourism was at its peak. Every narrow lane had like God knows how many temples. But there was just, it was all done so smoothly and so beautifully. And so basically, I think
clean.
I
very clean.
I think it's not. I agree. It's not fair to compare us to those countries. And the objective of us saying that we should spread out the people or teach them how to use our resources properly was not the fear that there will be too many people coming to these areas right away. Obviously, we want to promote local tourism. That's why we are sitting here. But the objective of all this that we are discussing is that while we want to promote this local tourism, we want to do it in a very responsible manner, so that these places remain pristine and they don't get become into such dumps that nobody wants to visit them in the near future.
Absolutely.
And the other thing is that. There's always been too much of pressure on the areas that you guys have also talked about, all in the northern areas. Whereas there is so much more that Pakistan has to offer, even in southern Pakistan. So we need to promote those areas also. That way, people will get filtered and will not be concentrating on one area, so that there is this thing. There's another interesting comment by Mr. Shahid Inayat. He says, great discussion. Can you discuss if there is anything being done or can be done to improve the educational tourism in Pakistan? For example, we have great historical sites like Mohenjo-daro, the Rawat Fort, Raniport Fort, etc. They do not see tourists coming in as groups for purpose of education.
You know, it was very interesting. We were actually at Mohenjo-daro last year, and it was interesting to see that there was a group of like 20 Italians, remember? And they were studying that site with such interest. Like it was amazing, and we were like, "हमें नहीं पढ़ाते वो इस तरह, you know, इतनी detail में हमें trip पे लेके जाए." I remember way back in the day, we used to have a Mohenjo-daro trip. I remember it happened with my school and happened with my brother. But उसके बाद मुझे याद है कि वो trip पता नहीं क्यों बंद हो गई थी. I remember they were a very big part of school curriculum, but now I think it stopped. Maybe I don't know why. What's the reason? Maybe security reasons or something. But you know, as Fahd also mentioned, like we keep seeing foreigners coming to our country and explore, you know, with so much depth, and we don't do that. We went to Bitsha and we went to Chabdul Latif Betai ke hum log mazar mein the, and there the tour guide told us that people from abroad come and they live in the mazar. They live in the mazar for months and they learn the kalams, Chabdul Latif Betai ki kalams. वो उसको learn because you know he used to have a specific tambura उसको कहते थे, the instrument tambura, and a specific kalam, the way you recite them was very specific, and every night they have a musical night to pay tribute to, you know, Shabdul Latif Betai, and they were telling us कि बाहर से कोई Japanese lady came,
she learned,
and she lived there, and they like बहुत ऐसे लोग आते हैं especially बाहर से जो वहाँ रहते हैं और वो ये सब कुछ learn करते हैं. And I'm like, ये हमें क्यों नहीं पता, हम क्यों नहीं करते ये पाकिस्तान में रहते हुए, why don't we do this, you know?
Yeah, again, I think over here it's a problem of marketing.
आपने Japanese की बात की है, it's sorry.
हमने Jian, I'm sorry, please carry on.
Yeah, I'm just saying that, you know, if this is already happening, then people should know about it. I mean, we should know about it as locals so that we feel proud and we talk about it, and also other international tourists should see so that they also get inspired. So I think over here, if educational tourism is already happening, then it's a matter of marketing it, you know, also popularizing it, organizing it, and also making this information available on various platforms online, you know, about Mohenjo-daro and Derawa Fort and, you know, places like these which have historical significance. So marketing and like whatever is happening, you know, amplifying it, talking about it, I think that's something that should be done or can be done to further it.
Definitely.
Gianna, you wanted to add?
Okay, I just wanted to say there she was talking about a Japanese lady and about Mohenjo-daro and other heritage sites. There's so many people who come in and they've done more research and they feel more of a connection than our own people because we tend to look outside and we don't tend to look inside. There's a Japanese lady who came to Kailash Valley and she set up a library there. And it's still there. She lives there for 6 months. She lives in Tokyo for 6 months. She married a local also, and live in Tokyo for 6 months and live in Kailash for 6 months. She learned the local language. She started writing, you know, collecting sort of written material on the language, and that is also available in the library. And the local children come there to learn about their old culture and Pakistan's culture and the world culture in general. So it's a beautiful location where it's like a very pristine, you know, old school kind of a hut type, you know, size of, sort of a place where part of it is her residence and part is the library, and there's big lush garden outside and children just come and, you know, they sit around and listen to her. Regarding Mohenjo-daro and other heritage sites, I think there's 3-4 things that, you know, one is, of course, stealing artifacts is a thing in our country, apparently. तो आप मोहनजोदारो जाते हैं वहाँ पे आधे ज़्यादा जो सामान है वो आपको लोकल वडेरे के जो होते हैं ना उताक जो एक जगह होती है जहाँ पे वो मेहमान खाना जिसके उधर बैठते हैं लोग जाके चाय पीते हैं तो वहाँ पे आपको डिस्प्ले पे दिखेगा वो चीज़ें जो एक्चुअली रियली मोहनजोदारो के अंदर से निकला तो वो अपने घर ले गए और वहाँ का जो कस्टोडियन है वो बेचारा ऑब्वियसली बेचारा गरीब आदमी है उसको तनख्वाह मिलती है कभी नहीं भी मिलती है वो उनको मना नहीं कर सकता है बिकॉज वो तो बड़े रसाई हैं उनके बेटे हैं या उनके चाचे के बेटे हैं और समथिंग सो दे जस्ट कम एंड दे जस्ट टेक द स्टफ अवे एंड इफ यू रियली वांट टू सी देम यू डोंट हैव टू गो टू Mohenjo-daro you have to go there Utak. The second thing is of course we need to have guides who are trained enough to explain stuff or information available online which is of course there is information available online The third thing is upkeep of the actual location. हम तो water tables rise करने दे रहे हैं, हमने उसको बिल्कुल ही dissolve भी करने दे दिया है और कमाल कर दिया कि हमने वहाँ पे सिंध का मेला भी करा दिया, जिसमें हमने concert कराई और उस concert में इतनी ज़्यादा बड़े-बड़े speakers लगाए कि उसकी base से वो सारे उनके जो particles हैं उस जगह के वो ही हिल गए, so वो crumble भी करने लग गया, तो हम तो कमाल हो गए. And then there's other things, like for example, we were discussing in our committee regarding, there's a lady from Peshawar who highlighted that the Ahmed Basha Dam is being built in a place where there are rock carvings which date back to 7,000 years. There are rock carvings on, उसमें बुद्धा की भी बहुत सारी relief वो है sculptures, huge size, and there has been a very strong research in Pakistan that there need not to be 2-3 big dams. There need to be one dam every 100 kilometers for our water and irrigation problem to be solved. So this Ahmed Basha dam must be made, yes, but it must be made with some conscientious effort and some, responsibility that this heritage, sort of relief carvings and all, they don't get destroyed. They don't get to go underwater. Either we keep the levels low, or we create a separate pathway where people can sort of go in and see. So we were discussing this, and it's also a part of what we're trying to put out to the government. We're trying. But we need to protect this stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Just to add to what Amina said about the heritage being stolen, I'm sorry to say it's not just the locals of the area or the tourists who do that, but it's also the guides who do it. And I've had personal experience in Taxila where the guide offered to sell us some coins which he claimed was genuine coins, which they had excavated, Greek coins from the ruins in Taxila. And he had a handful of those and he said, बताएं मैं तो ये इतने डॉलर्स में बेचता हूँ, जब वो बाहर से लोग आते हैं, अब आप लोग क्योंकि लोकल्स हैं तो मैं आपसे डॉलर में तो नहीं बात करूंगा, लेकिन आप बताएं how much you're willing to pay for it. So I mean, even the guides do these things. So we have to make sure that whoever we are keeping as a somebody who's a keeper of that place or a guide, he has to be also answerable, and there has to be balances on these.
Balances.
Yeah, I think we can see an overlying problem of accountability and ownership. Like जो भी हमने अभी बातें की हैं, आप देखें चाहे वो guide हो, चाहे वो local inhabitant हो, या वो local tourist हो. We have spoken about 3 different kinds of people in our country, and I think the overlying problem that we can see is accountability, ownership, national pride. I think that's something which is missing from every person of Pakistan. I'm not saying massive hai ya upper class and lower class, just the profession. I think that's something which is missing from the citizen of Pakistan. I think we're lacking this thing, and I think something needs to be done, like some campaign maybe need to be done, education we need to have more curriculums ingrained about our national pride in geography and geographical locations and tourism and all of that. Like this is something that is upcoming. Like
I remember we made a Sim series for YouTube, and we were speaking about Rani Court and Bhiksha and a lot of these locations in Sindh specifically, because people are like, okay, Sindh has so much to offer, and everything is like 2-3 ghante away from each other. And we did like 1 week and we went around in all these amazing locations, and I was shocked like how many people hadn't heard of Rani Court, Bhiksha, and they just didn't know about all these things. And I was like, I genuinely thought people it was like common knowledge and they preferred to go. But they didn't. And that's
and then the Dilawar Fort, and there's so many. There's Merano National Reserve. We didn't even know. We went there, and they had deer, and they had boars, and they had so many animals. This whole Meran National Reserve that they have, and like Sindh is.
And our Sufi culture in Sindh is so interesting. It's so.
Yeah, we even went to Sevan. We went to the Dhamal, which happens.
Sevan is still a very popular location.
Yeah.
Sevan obviously is, but
for that particular niche of people who go for that. But like Sindh was such a.
This is exactly why we want that people should find out about these places, so that people can get filtered and start visiting all these areas also, rather than just concentrating on the northern areas, because we really have a wealth of places and all kinds of places, I mean, from sand dunes and deserts for which people go to Dubai. We have it right here. We've got the mountains, we've got the ocean, we've got the works. I mean, why should we
in the northern areas, I think because of so many foreign tourists coming in, and also because people have taken pride in their own heritage and in their own surrounding, like in Hunza, in Chitral, in Gilgit, in Naltar, in for example Kailash also. There you don't see these guides. There was a comment just now. They don't steal, and they are very very respectful of their
Very
space, and they're
particular.
very respectful of the people, and the people when they always they're welcoming. Like for example, आप किसी से घर पे रुक के पता पूछ रहे हैं कहीं का, like there's a very tiny little town, very beautiful picturesque called बुनी, और वहाँ पे मैंने किसी से सिर्फ पता पूछना था कि ये जगह कितना दूर है, उन्होंने कहा नहीं आप चाय पी के जाएंगे, तो मैंने कहा नहीं मैंने चाय नहीं पीना, मेरे साथ पूरी एक वैन है उसमें बहुत सारे लोग हैं, आपको इतने सारे लोगों को चाय, हम सबको चाय पिलाएंगे, तो वो देर so I mean, and in Sindh also, in Balochistan, wherever we have gone, luckily for us, we've been shooting in every nook and cranny of Pakistan, हर कोना, कोई चप्पा चप्पा हमने छोड़ा नहीं है अब तक, तो जिधर भी हम गए, such hospitality, such ownership in a good way, but जहाँ पे checks and balances नहीं है, या जहाँ पे वो pride की थोड़ी lacks है, या फिर उनको लगता है कि हाँ अगर वो चीज को निकाल के बेच सकते हैं, कोई पता ही नहीं, पूछेगा ही नहीं, तो या वो किसी अपने से क्लास स्ट्रक्चर में बड़े को ये करते देखते हैं, गेट अवे विद इट वाला चीज उनको दिखता है, इफ दे गॉट अवे विद इट, मे बी दे कैन गेट अवे विद इट, सो ये फॉलो कर, तो जो गुड एग्जांपल्स हैं, हम इट्स आवर रिस्पांसिबिलिटी, इफ वी आर एजुकेटेड विद अ फ्यू पीपल इन पाकिस्तान हु आर ऑफ द एजुकेटेड लॉट, then it's up to us to push these good things out and let people see them, and then people will automatically copy and sort of do it.
Definitely.
I think somebody pointed it out.
Anam, you want to read it out?
Yeah, sure. So Farha Gohar is saying that I was working for BBC and the whole team had come from UK to do a documentary on Seven Sharif. We traveled all the way as there was Urs, and they took permission from the government and filmed the amazing haul of men and women. It was aired throughout Europe. They just couldn't stop talking about the fascination people do know about it. It's just that we need to portray more positive. The only thing they complained was the dirt and the litter. Yeah, that's so true. I mean, it's such an amazing experience. It's such a, it's something so unique to that specific place, and that's why it fascinates. But obviously, in order for that experience to be even more pleasurable and even more enjoyable for people who are coming from somewhere else, I think ये बहुत छोटी छोटी बातें हैं, litter, कचरा, सफाई, जो कि हमें, I think we should just get them out of our way now. We don't compare, we don't stand against the experience that we have to deliver. And if we have such an amazing experience to give, then these छोटी चीजें, should just be taken care of right away. और ये सेवन शरीफ योर्स तो पता नहीं कितने सालों से हो रहा है. It's nothing new. So I mean, this should have been taken care of ages ago. इस पे तो काफी लोगों ने documentaries बनाई हैं, और I mean, content creators ने भी काफी बनाया है. And yeah, I think you all agree on it. It should be done. I mean,
and surprisingly, like when we went, it was very well organized also. Like we went on a Thursday, which is the main day of their dhamal and everything, and it was very well organized. Like lines mein logo, like so that people in lines, they had a separate section for men and women, and they were directing everybody कि आप यहाँ जाएं, आप वहाँ जाएं. Like it was all very organized, and then they had timings for everything. कितने बजे ये होगा, फिर ये होगा, फिर ये होगा, and even when we were exiting, they were telling us which way to go. So it was a great experience like that. Very well handled and managed and organized. So I think
that because when we were promoting all kinds of tourism for this in this paper of ours, I was very strongly against any kind of religious tourism, because I felt that वहाँ पे इतने लोग congregate एक जगह हो जाते हैं, and then they're sort of so caught up in the frenzy that they're not willing to listen. And then how can you sort of keep people at a distance and have that social distancing and keep it safe? So I had exactly this dhamal in mind and Seven Sharif in mind, but I'm glad. I mean, if it can be done in these normal circumstances, then maybe they can even do it, in this environment. There was another Yeah, there's another comment by Shahid, which I would like to read because this is something we are also been discussing in our committee and working on. He says, I would like to share an idea for tourism in current conditions. I think we should invest in making 360-degree videos of our top 50 tourist sites that we can share on an official tourism YouTube channel, kind of like virtual tourism that can later be converted into real tourism later. I'm sure Amina has a lot to say about this because this is something that we've been discussing in our committee also. And I think this is something that we will be taking up. So, yeah.
And I think a few countries have already started this. Like I was seeing online, a couple of them have already started virtual tours, that you can take sitting from home and online. So you guys, I think, should definitely take that up. And you can also like collaborate with different content creators, bloggers who already have a lot of footage lined up. There's so many amazing people who have like such good drone footage of all over Pakistan, and they have different, footage. Even we have some. So, I think it could be a great campaign that you could run in collaboration with
I
travel
think something
bloggers.
that's very personal to us is that we, as like there's a niche of content creators, especially for travel, and we have a special issues when it comes to shooting anywhere. Like there has to be some cohesion between tourism industry and the content creators. Of course, I'm not saying we should all just go and just like barge in with cameras, but there has to be some bridge where we get a pass that allows us to go and shoot, and we also have SOPs that we follow, we regulate, and we're registered with you guys. But it's so difficult because for us, like we don't always have the time to apply for permissions or plan everything.
Yeah, like a proper process that we know about.
And like so a lot of times we have such a bad experience with people see us with a camera at
they just freak out,
that why are you here, what are you doing, and especially if you are a female and or a couple, it's even more like aggressive, like they just get really weirded out by it.
Especially with a couple, because they think a couple with a camera, what do you want to do? Why are you filming?
Yeah, they think they're doing something shady, even if we have more people with us, and
and that's what we're trying to do. Like all the content creators, travel bloggers, we're trying to promote a positive image of Pakistan. We're trying to show the world how much beauty there is in our country, and we feel like our job sometimes becomes tougher for us because there aren't proper SOPs in place for permission. I think there should be, we should walk around something इसके ऊपर कि जिसको shoot करना है, maybe they can, if they want to film something, maybe they can apply for an application or something to give them permission to enter certain sites with cameras, or for an amount of period of time okay, we're giving you permission for this week, so you go and you shoot on these days, which we need to establish something like
police
that.
I mean, there are NOCs for like commercial uses, but you have to apply the prices you pay, but for like content creators specifically, they need to
have big budgets. The NOCs, I know एक NOC around 80,000 का बनता है approximately, right? But those are for commercial purposes who have a big budget, who have big production houses. But people like us who just have a YouTube channel, एक camera है, हम दो लोग हैं, we just want to put it up on a YouTube channel. Here we don't have any SOPs or any processes in place.
I do agree that if you are making branded content, like specifically, then the brand should also know that they need to pay you that SOP, like that NOC cost, which should go to the development of that tourism of that place. It's not about us making that money or any. It should be the place that we're visiting that should benefit from that money that we pay to film it. Like I agree, a lot of areas have been like commercials पूरे shoot होके यहाँ से निकल गए 2-2 crore रुपए के और हमें कुछ नहीं मिला.
And then when we go with a camera, we get denied.
Because so I understand where they're coming from. We're not saying they're wrong.
Yes.
We're just saying that we need to have some kind of bridge for us.
Some kind of bridge, and
100%.
So actually, Amina is the culprit, and you people are getting the flag for this and the brunt of it, because Amina goes with her ride crew and she takes up these.
I give her credit. That's a lot of hard work. A lot of paper.
At this point, my screen goes black, and I will come back in about 5 minutes.
What you're saying is we can't compare ourselves to her all the time, because she goes through a very tough process to get to that point.
And I'm sure, like, yeah, those are like much
Also,
bigger projects.
I'm also kind of in the same boat as you when I go with like two people or just myself, and I'm just carrying like a small camera myself. And of course, I don't have to then, should not have to then pay that kind of NSC. I completely agree where you're coming from. Now, what I wanted to put out here was that all of you smart people who have brains on your shoulders, you need to put these suggestions and these ideas in like a list, reach out to other vloggers, and we need to put all this together and put it out to the government. So we're making a document that is going to go to the government, not just the federal but also the provincials, because now you know that tourism has been given out to provinces.
Yeah.
So hopefully, if the right people get to see these comments and these ideas and these suggestions and these improvement thoughts, maybe some of them can get implemented now, maybe some next year. I'm just saying that it's an effort we're trying to make, and what we really would like is everybody to contribute to it together. So it's for once we work together as one and we put something up, with all our forces combined, we are bigger.
And it's all for the love of Pakistan, basically.
Exactly. That's our main
All
cause,
of us
main
on the
purpose.
committee are volunteers. We are completely doing this voluntarily, and I'm really, really hopeful that both Patangir and the girl with the green passport can help us reach out to all other bloggers and like bring them in, and sort of we can create like a like an email account or something where you can all send your ideas, or just to my Facebook, to Shanaz's Facebook, and I think even that will work. Just make it as easy, or WhatsApp it or whatever. Just send her
Definitely.
something.
Yeah.
And then you wanted to
We
say
already
something.
keep, yeah, we already keep connecting on these issues, whenever we get to either travel together or whenever we meet up or even on Instagram. Like we keep connecting on these issues and we're like, we just need to have a resolution to it.
But
I think maybe
before
forming
that,
several
more than
channels
that,
between
just not
travel,
between yourselves. Sorry to interrupt. I'm just saying
but yeah, to
more
be
than
able to,
between yourselves, it needs to reach two outlets. It needs to reach the people who are taking, calling the shots, the government. It
Great.
needs to reach the people who are like the locals and citizens of our country in some, easy to understand format or way where they can both, start thinking like you're thinking,
Yeah,
Yeah,
Amna, you
definitely.
were saying? Sorry, Anam, you were saying?
yeah, no, I was just saying the same thing that I think हम आपस में तो connect करते हैं, but whatever these suggestions we have or whatever are the pain points, I think maybe they can be a communication channel between people who are in the authorities, people who are the decision makers, between them and between specifically travel content creators जिनको local realities का idea है या जो internationally travel कर चुके हैं and who have some ideas. So I think it's a great idea to have some sort of a communication channel, maybe a quarterly meeting or something, where we can share ideas and play our part. Because हम जब travel करते हैं बाहर दूसरे मुल्कों में, every time, I mean, I can say that for myself and I'm sure for a lot of other people, इतने सारे आइडियाज आते हैं. एक तो आइडियाज भी आते हैं और इंस्पिरेशन भी आती है, एंड यू रियली फील कि यार इस जगह जैसा तो हमारे मुल्क में फलाना जगह है, सो जस्ट व्हाई कांट आवर कंट्री हैव ऑल दोस फैसिलिटीज एंड एवरीथिंग. यू रियली फील इट इन योर हार्ट कि ये हमारे मुल्क में बस अब हो जाए, ये ऐसी फैसिलिटी हो जाए इस जगह पे पहुंचने के लिए, ताकि जब यहाँ पे इस शहर में इतने सारे इंटरनेशनल टूरिस्ट आ रहे हैं और तारीफ कर रहे हैं, तो हमारे भी मुल्क में आ जाएं, amongst all the wrong things that are attached to our country, there can be 1,000 things good that can be attached to our country, so they just should start happening. um
Anam, I am so happy that you have said all this, because I'm going to promptly add you into our WhatsApp group. And I mean, we need people like you guys to be there, who have ideas and who are enthusiastic and who want to do something. And I think because the group of people that we have, you will see how motivated we all are. And we want to continue with this, and we want to do this, on an ongoing basis, not just making papers, submitting it to the government, and then forgetting about it. We want to take this up as a mission so that we can help wherever we can. And it will be great if you guys can be a part of this. So it will really be great.
Definitely.
that'll be great.
There is a
It'd be
comment.
awesome to have everybody on board and bring in more people, who've been blogging.
बिल्कुल.
Yeah, of course.
So Faisal Mahmood has also made a comment here. He says we have a big competition in every type of tourism except religious tourism, particularly Buddhist tourism. The ancient history of Gandhara civilization and spread of Buddhism along the valleys of Peshawar, Swat, Dil, Gunar, Bajor, Takhte, Bahi, and Taxila. What role can you play to highlight this major tourism magnet of Pakistan?
I think content creation, the more information, the more material we have available on the internet about religious tourism or particularly Buddhist tourism, because he's very right. When we travel to these places, और अगर हमारे साथ कोई अच्छा tour guide हो, तो वो बहुत अच्छी knowledge हमें, देता है कि यहाँ पे क्या क्या चीजें किस किस पॉइंट पे क्या क्या सिग्निफिकेंस रही है, if specifically talk about Buddhist ट्रेल जो पाकिस्तान में है. बट आई थिंक ये एक ऐसा एरिया है जिसपे इंफॉर्मेशन की इजी अवेलेबिलिटी, एक्सेस, परमिशन, and then content creators going there and creating content specifically on this topic. Also audience acceptability. मैं ये भी सोच रही हूँ कि अगर हम as content creators, अगर हम बुद्धिस्ट टूरिज्म पे, रिलीजियस टूरिज्म पे अगर हम कंटेंट बनाते हैं और वो कोई और रिलीजन के बारे में होता है, so I'm also wondering how will my audience या how will our audience respond to that. So I think ये भी एक चीज है कि हमें maybe it can be experimented and tested out कि audience कैसे respond करती है इस content को देख के, because बाज़ दफा
there are all kinds of people. I can understand where your fear is coming from, because
वो आ जाएगा पहला comment, are you Muslim? Question mark. The first thing they say, are you Muslim? Why are you talking about Buddhism?
Why are you talking about exactly?
Yeah,
so
we do get that a lot.
Yeah.
को हम anonymous कर देंगे.
But yeah, I feel like Anam is right. Like there's always a fear or some kind of, I don't know, judgment or paranoia in our masses whenever you talk about other religions. वो हमेशा, even if you, मतलब मैंने इतना देखा है सोशल मीडिया पे भी, like even if a content creator was actually talking about Ahmadis, उस पे she got so much backlash कि why are you talking about them? Are you an Ahmadi? Are you? She's like, that's my point. मैं यही बताना चाह रही हूँ कि आप लोग, why do we differentiate so much? And that's within our Muslim sect. So we can only imagine what's going to happen. But that's the part of content creation. We need to educate our masses, and this is part of our history. It's part of our nation. They need to know that.
I mean, Rasulullah was an example in tolerance himself. He was, mashallah, say, so tolerant and with all the religions. And there was no question of him attacking anybody just because of their belief. In fact, Quran में तो clearly लिखा हुआ है that आपका काम था मैसेज देना, आपने दे दिया. अब अगर वो नहीं एक्सेप्ट करने वाले तो you just say peace and move on. I mean, it's very there is nothing about force or anything. और यहाँ पर तो मतलब एक किसी के बारे में बात किया तो वो इतनी I don't know whether it's just being holier than thou or what it is, but basically वो इतने ज़्यादा more loyal than the king हो जाते हैं that they're willing to attack anyone, and they think it's all right to become rude, to become obnoxious, to even kill, just because they think that they are in the right and the other person is in the wrong. How does that make them better Muslims? I have no clue, but that's the way it is. So I can understand where your fear is coming from, but I suppose there are some sacrifices we have
still.
उसके अलावा लेकिन फिर भी I've seen that people are still making an effort towards educating people on religious diversity. I know at least in Karachi we have a couple of organizations like Super Sawari that does a diversity tour, and they take you to different holy mosque and Kachi Memon mosque, and they take you to the church, St. Patrick's Church, they take you to a mandir. So I say choti, and they even take school kids. They take a lot of school kids on these tours as well. So I say choti initiatives over everywhere, which I really commend a lot. And I know Lahore maybe cultural or historical walks hoti hain, jisme they try really hard to touch upon the diversity of those areas. Cultural diversity, religious diversities, and it's really important.
This is one of our strengths. We can cash in on this. I've been to Malaysia, which is also a Muslim country, Muslim majority, and they have got all kinds of religious ethnicities there. They have Hindus, they have, and they all mix together, intermingle. They do these parades with everybody dancing together, and there is absolutely no problem. So I mean, these are
they're very comfortable.
Yeah, very comfortable. And this is something that Pakistan needs to do because हमारी भी strength diversity है. We've got the Sikhs, and जितने हमारे पास Sikhs के अब आप देखें ये first time government ने इतनी बड़ी step ली, and they allowed the Sikhs to come in, and I mean it was very very appreciated the world over, and I'm glad that nobody reacted to it in a way कि ये कैसे कर दिया कि Sikhs को क्यों आंदोलन कर दिया. It was something that was a very intelligent step to take, and you can get a lot of tourism out of that. So these are things that need to be done. So,
and they're happy to give you that tourism out of that. The Sikh community all over the world, they're happy to give you that, the tourism relevant money to come and visit their sacred place.
Anam has spoken the least, so I'm going to make her do the reading. Anam, read the next two messages.
Okay. So I was reading this comment by Farha Gohar. That government should, it's a suggestion that government should start all over Pakistan to have proper education for tour guides, curators, and language courses through information about the areas they're in. Plus, the government should provide them with audio equipment. I think this is a brilliant suggestion. हमारे यहाँ पे there should be a formal tour guide course. It could be a diploma, it could be a certificate, to start off with. And I'm sure इतनी सारी हमारी youth आएगी निकल के जिसको ये काम करने का शौक होगा, because I've seen in so many different cities of the world passionate young citizens, they sign up for this, walking tours में, और इसमें बहुत passionately people sign up and study for it, and they learn about their cities, history and stories and whatnot, and they do brilliant job at conducting those tours, और वो training सारी reflect होती है in the way that experience is delivered to a tourist. So I think ये बहुत अच्छा suggestion है कि हमारे यहाँ formalize करें इस education को, so that people actually start taking it up, and then obviously alongside जब tourism बढ़ेगी, so there will be job opportunity or money making opportunity for these tour guides. वो दोनों चीजें hand in hand चलेंगी. And I think it's time, अगर हम international tourist को market कर रहे हैं अपनी country as a destination, then this should go hand in hand.
And I feel like that's a very good point. और बहुत ही लेकिन छोटे scale पे हो रहा है अभी, जैसे we also worked on a couple of projects. एक था USAID का project जिसमें वो यही बिल्कुल exactly they were doing the same thing. They were recruiting local people from within Punjab and Sindh, and we worked along with them.
And they were making them guides.
They have बिल्कुल ये था that वो locals को ले रहे थे, so that they give them a job opportunity and they get a reason to earn, and they were बिल्कुल उनको courses दे रहे थे, training दे रहे थे, so they know about their local areas and they can guide people better. And then those were the guides who actually guided us when we went to Sindh and Punjab and all those places. But ये problem कि बहुत छोटी-छोटी pockets में हो रहा है, right? A lot of people don't get to know about it. जैसे कि those guides got trained. Now I don't know how to reach out to those guys. Like as content creators, we knew about it. We put the video out. We told our followers and everything. But then उसके आगे follow up नहीं हुआ. वो trained तो हो गए guides. Now what's next? They train now. They have the certificate. What's next? So their information needs to be available on a website or somewhere, so that audience and the masses can contact them when they need these tour guides or anything like that.
Actually it's because it's not a career path, it's not a lucrative career path, being a guide in this country. तो इसलिए बहुत सारे लोग जो हैं वो डिटर भी हो गए, या जो थे भी वो बस लिमिटेड टू दैट ही रह गए. फिर एक और बहुत बड़ा इशू आ जाता है कि आपको रट्टू तोता गाइड मिल जाते हैं जो कि बहुत ही अनइंस्पायरिंग होते हैं. तो वो टूर को लेके भी जाएंगे और आपको सब बताएंगे, मतलब इन्फॉर्मेशन पूरी होएगी लेकिन जीरो एंटरटेनमेंट के साथ या जीरो सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट के साथ. वो सिर्फ कुछ रटा हुआ इन्फॉर्मेशन आपको अपनी लोकल एक्सेंट में जरूर बता देंगे. तो उसको हमने इम्प्रूव नहीं किया है अभी तक. तो अगर हम दो चीजें अगर अटेम्प्ट करें, एक तो कोई सॉर्ट ऑफ करियर पाथ इनके लिए होता हो, कोई करियर लुक्रेटिव लगे, तो फिर लोग जरूर आएंगे इसको सीखने के लिए, कोर्सेज करने के लिए. Secondly, I don't know if you guys remember, but कॉलेज के अंदर कुछ नॉन एग्जिस्टेंट बट सपोज्ड पॉइंट्स मिलते थे आपको NCC करने के लिए. Likewise, Balochistan में एक campaign start हुई थी that kids from college could not get their degree until they taught 2 years of school. So maybe this could become a part of, clearing your intermediate degree or your BA degree or your BSc degree. This could be a part कि आपको जब तक डिग्री नहीं मिलेगी जब तक आपने 6 महीने टूर गाइड की तरह से अपने लोकल एरिया के अंदर काम नहीं किया होगा. So things like that can maybe bring in more educated lot जो कि उससे by default उनको for life ना वो चीजें याद भी हो जाएंगी, उनको पता भी होएगा उसके बारे में. कल को वो 6 महीने बाद गाइड नहीं भी रहे और डॉक्टर बन गए या कुछ और बन गए या बाहर के मुल्क चले गए, they can still keep talking about that one thing they learned or that one location they learned how to explain. I'm just saying,
yesterday,
इस तरह की चीजें अगर हम involvement में करें
बिल्कुल.
तो
yesterday
में करें तो it can work. Yeah.
Definitely.
Yesterday we had a meeting and we had representations from the Tourism Development Corporation of Punjab. And he gave us a brilliant news that the government house in Punjab is being used to train these guides now. And they have this whole system in place where, for how एक अच्छा licensed guide को का पूरा उनको सिखाया जा रहा है. And he also very generously offered that he could share that with us. And I think that is really the way to go, to have proper trained guides, number one. And number two, obviously, to give them a pay that is attractive enough for them to want to take up these jobs. And now in a COVID environment where so many people are jobless all of a sudden, I think actually this creates an avenue of a lot of jobs. So for tourism, there can be so many different jobs related to tourism that can open up if we just do this intelligently and use this properly and start giving them salaries that are lucrative for them also.
Definitely. And tour guides is not only the only way. हम लोग वहाँ गए थे कश्मीर में नीलम वैली में in शारदा विलेज
एंड जॉब्स हैं, ब्राइड्स के लिए जॉब्स हैं.
तो लोकल जो वहाँ पे लोग रहने वाले थे ना, उन्होंने उनको basically they trained them how to turn their own houses into like an Airbnb. So it was such a great way for the local people to start earning. So they gave them proper certification, proper training, hospitality training, उनकी पूरी
culinary skills,
how to set a table, how to serve the food, and they basically helped them transform one room in each house into a guest room, like an Airbnb, right? And we actually went and
it's an amazing experience.
Clean bathrooms in Sharda, clean bathrooms, amazing rooms, and like
very sweet hosts,
very nice hosts, and it was so sweet. They literally every night they would take our breakfast order, and then like it was literally like a resort, and it was so beautiful. And
this is something we've also put down on our paper, and this is something we've discussed as well. And I think this will be a great revenue making thing for them. We had gone to England, and we had traveled by road to the outskirts, and we stayed at a B&B, and it was exactly like that. It was, this elderly couple staying on their own. Everybody gone, so they gave us a room, and it was gorgeous. And I mean, they made brilliant breakfast and everything.
Yeah,
so that's the way to go. Yeah, why not?
Definitely.
It's been done in the north already.
I think in Kashmir में in
very informal kind of way. Locals को वहाँ के foreign guests जो आते हैं, foreign guests who come in like international travelers, उन्होंने कुछ ideas दे के ये चीजें कुछ start कराया है, but there's no formal training as such. And even in the south, ऐसे कुछ थोड़ा बहुत शुरू है, but of course like it needs to be properly trained कि उनको पता हो कि अच्छा ये इस तरह से करना है, to handle a situation which is not working in their favor or कुछ off होनी चाहिए, they need to be trained.
So Shanaz says we can brand the artifacts and the people, the guides, like the bearded guide in Baltic Fort. Everyone who has gone to it knows that guy. Then Faisal says there's a big Buddhist market to appreciate you and welcome you. Sharad says tour guides play a very important role for tourists. It actually starts from the airport. So these are all things that we've been discussing. These are things that we've also put down on our paper. And I think potential बहुत है. It just needs that we should start taking it up on a war footing really. जैसे हमें कहते हैं कि कोरोना से हमें डरना नहीं लड़ना है, तो हमें इसके लिए भी लड़ना है कि ये भी एक need to do it. And I think it will really be something that is not just good for Pakistan, good for the economy, good for our mental well-being, good for our health. I think there's so many things will come out of it if we just do it the right way. And we have to start right now while there is still inaction everywhere else. You can do the paperwork, you can start thinking, you can start putting things into practice, into exercise, so that when things open up, you can, you're already ready and prepared. And not for it to hit you and then you decide, oh, ab kya kare hum, and that kind of a thing. So,
yeah.
So if do you guys want to add any last comments before we close today's session? I know you all have given a lot of time, and
I think that
we need an oath of allegiance from you guys.
Sorry, one at a time.
An oath of allegiance from you guys that you will now be one with us.
Yeah. Anam, I'm going to let you go first.
Good. Let's do this.
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I was saying that as a concluding comment, that in past 2 years, before this whole situation happened in 2020, 2 years से हमें थोड़ा सा, it has become a little happening, the tourism situation in Pakistan. We did see that the government did take some action. International tourists आए यहाँ पे, लोगों ने भी उनको वेलकम किया, कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स ने भी उनको सपोर्ट किया, लोकल्स ने भी किया, और गवर्नमेंट ने भी उस एनवायरनमेंट को थोड़ा सा कंड्यूसिव बनाया. सो आई फील दैट मार्केटिंग साइड पे हमने थोड़ा सा काम शुरू किया एंड इट डिड स्टार्ट ब्रिंगिंग इन रिजल्ट्स. उन कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स की जो ऑडियंस थी, उन्होंने फिर उनसे सवाल भी पूछना शुरू किया कि यार आप तो एक स्पॉन्सर्ड ट्रिप पे थे, बट क्या यही सब चीजें हमारे लिए भी, ये पाकिस्तान एज अ कंट्री, क्या हमारे लिए भी इतना कन्वीनियंट है ट्रैवल करना? सो दैट इज वेयर द कॉन्वर्जेशन मूव्स फ्रॉम मार्केटिंग टुवर्ड्स एक्चुअल इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट. सो आई थिंक मार्केटिंग हमारी शुरू हो गई है, और कंटेंट क्रिएटर्स आर कमिंग इन, इन्फ्लुएंसर्स ने जो है ना, ग्लोबल ट्रैवल इन्फ्लुएंसर्स ने पाकिस्तान को अपने मैप पे डाल दिया है. some have come, some are coming, some will be planning to come. Now it's time कि हम अब जो हमारा इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर डेवलपमेंट है या एक्चुअल फिजिकल रियल वर्ल्ड चेंजेस हैं जो हमें लेकर आने अपने शहरों में, टाउन्स में, उस पे हम काम अब जल्दी से शुरू करें, ताकि besides marketing हमारा प्रोडक्ट भी अच्छा होता जाए. So this is what I had to say.
No, very well said. Thank you. Over to Patangi.
That's very nicely said.
We just have one thing to say, that I think where we stand and what we believe is, जैसे जैसे tourism promote हो रहा है, I think we really need to promote responsible tourism on the side. Like that's where we stand. Like
that's a very big point.
Literally, हमने जितना भी देखा है अभी तक, whenever we go, that's one thing that really upsets us and really hits another part of our heart. Is like कि यार लोग आ तो रहे हैं लेकिन ख्याल नहीं रख रहे. So I feel like okay, hello. Yeah, so we were saying that we feel like
responsible
tourism, sustainable tourism is something that we really need to promote, not only on the side of the tourists के जो घूमने फिरने आ रहे हैं, उनको भी एजुकेट करना है कि किस तरह अपनी जगह का ख्याल रखना है, but also the locals, because sometimes होता है कि जो locals होते हैं, they're living in such a beautiful place that you take it for granted, so उनको भी बताना है कि आप एक heaven में रह रहे हैं, पाकिस्तान के heaven में रह रहे हैं, आप इसका ख्याल रखिए, and thirdly, like the people who are in the hospitality industry, अगर आप आ रहे हैं अपना होटल बनाने, रिजॉर्ट बनाने, गेस्ट हाउस बनाने, there need to be some SOPs in place that they need to know how to go about it. I can't just create a massive building over here. They need to be educated what materials to use, what not to use, how to go about it, so they don't obstruct the nature, the view. They don't, और उनका जो भी वेस्ट है वो वेस्ट मैनेजमेंट एक सही तरह से हो. जितना भी वो कार्बन प्रोड्यूस कर रहे हैं उसका एक मैनेजमेंट सही से हो. So we feel these are some of the things that we need to also take into account and assess. Yeah.
बिल्कुल सही कह रही हैं. Over to Aminarthi. Amina, yeah.
Okay, there's so much already that I'll just keep this very short. I think everybody should try and visit Pakistan, and you will love it. I just have complete faith that this will evolve. And yes, responsible tourism. Yes, zero carbon footprint. Yes, to all kinds of local training and local ownership. Let's do this.
Yeah, बिल्कुल. And बाहर के लोग तो खैर बाद में आएंगे, वो पता नहीं अब ये कितना टाइम चलता है कोरोना का, लेकिन लोकल हमारे जो है ना, जो उन्होंने पाकिस्तान कम देखा है, दूसरे ममालिक ज्यादा देखा है, because they've always been traveling abroad.
Absolutely, that's very true.
Yeah, this is a godsend opportunity for us to see our own country now, and we need to really do this the right way. Guys, thank you so much. It was such a good discussion. I really enjoyed it. And thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all our friends
for having us. Thank you.
who joined us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye everyone. Thank you.
Most welcome.
Bye. Take care.